Good morning, afternoon, and evening. Today we're going to do something that nobody else in the world these days is doing, and that is we're going to take a walk in a garden in Italy. It's the Villa Taranto, found in Palanza on the shores of Lake Maggiore, and that's one of the largest lakes in Italy. In fact, it is the largest lake in Italy. And you'll notice I did not say an Italian garden. I said a garden in Italy. Here we are in the parking lot with the entry gate to the villa. It was really an English garden, or at least a British garden. It was bought in 1931 by Neil MacEachern, who was a rich Scottish man who had traveled the world looking for plants and collecting plants. Notice the colors here. You have a series of bulbs planted, which is not a typically Italian scenario. You can see the cobblestone blocks, which are used for the walkway, which is a very, very expensive way to do your walkways. In fact, it is the most expensive way. You will see a lot of evergreens. You will see a lot of large trees, which serve as a backdrop to a lot of the colors. You will see a lot of tulips, daffodils. You will see camellias. You will see dogwoods, azaleas, rhododendrons, such as you see here. And the trees all serve as a backdrop for what you have. And you will see that the colors are always served by a backdrop of the green. White is predominant, but you have a lot of reds, pinks. There are over 8,500 varieties of plants in this garden. You have a full-time garden staff of 16 gardeners. You have a lot of hardscape and little fountains, big fountains. I spoke with the 16 gardeners and they really enjoy their work. Take a look here. We have a 35-foot tall camellia. It's usually considered a shrub, but in this case, it's virtually a tree. The full-time staff on this garden would cost at least $800,000 to take care of the garden as it is, the botanical garden. Here you see palm trees, which are found here because you've got a subtropical temperature, even though you're at the foot of the Alps. This is a typical English layout with large lawns and large amounts of flowers. The tulips are going to last a short time. The azaleas last for a very long time and keep color throughout the summer, the spring, and into autumn. A lot of the trees provide the fall color. The tulips will not last that long, but it is truly a spectacular display. Typically, this garden will have 150,000 visitors per year. This year, because of COVID-19, there will be no spring visitors, and it is doubtful that they will have any visitors in the summer. We just don't know. It depends on how the virus continues or plays out during this period, which means that they're going to lose a substantial amount of money, at least $1.5 million in revenue, $1.5 million in revenue, because the visitors are not allowed into the garden. I hope you're enjoying the colors here. We're going fairly quickly. It took me 3.5 hours to walk, and you were walking along the path that I took. Here you have an Acer platanoides, which is a maple. Here you have a greenhouse with tropical plants. These are not quite, it's not quite warm enough for these tropical plants to exist in the outdoors at this time. Here you have a stone walkway, not the blocks, but stone slabs. Here the color is provided actually by the trees. These are Japanese maples, which give a red cast. In the background, you can see a light green or a whitish cast on some of the trees. The variety of color, even in the trees, is truly spectacular. You will see the white plants, the pink plants in amongst the trees. Some more camellias. Some different variety of colors from the trees. Some stone walls. With 8,500 varieties of plants, it took a very long time since 1931 for these plants to grow. It is undoubtable that a lot of the trees were here because a lot of these trees are extremely old. The number of tulips is staggering. Although the English brought, here you have an English pathway with plantings on the side with a fountain at the end. It is truly staggering to see the display of color here. You can just sit down in certain spots and just sit there for minutes, long minutes, to take it in. This garden has some similarities. Here you have a Cedrus deodara, or a cedar, a deodar cedar with the weeping limbs. You have similar types of gardens on Lake Como, like the Villa Melzi, and across from Bellagio you have the Villa Carlotta, which was also owned by foreigners. The foreigners love the Italian lakes just as we do today. If you have never visited the Italian lakes, Maggiore, Como, Diseo, Garda, Lugano, those are the 5 lakes. Iseo, Lago d'Iseo is the smallest. It is set amongst the Alps. You can see in some of the photos here, we're coming up. Here is the bridge. They made this stone bridge and carved this valley so they could have a creek. They did it for effect. Here is the Davidia involucrata, or they also call it the handkerchief tree because of the blooms look like handkerchiefs hanging from the limbs. There's the Davidia involucrata. It's a rare specimen. Here you have some more rhododendrons hanging along some stone walls. And here's the bridge they put up. They carved this valley out so that they could have the effect they wanted, with a little creek running down the middle of it. It is truly spectacular. Here are some pansies. Here is the Villa Taranto, and you're not able to visit the villa. It is used as offices for a local Italian government. And that, as you saw here, that is one of the largest. A lot of these specimens are some of the largest I have ever seen. That is a dogwood. There again is the villa. Looks like these flowers are taking a nap. The mixture of colors, whoever planned this really did a fabulous job of mixing similar but different colors to provide the effects they desired. Even the purples, some blues. Here you have Chinese wisteria hanging from the covered walkway. Here you have a pool. It's not a swimming pool. It's more like a pond with a series of waterfalls coming down and a series of parterres with flower beds lining the water, cascading into the pool. And here you have a magnificent set of steps going up to the upper garden, coming right to the edge of the water. Whoever designed this did a brilliant job. You've got stone walls with trees growing up the walls, and here you have the planted flower beds amongst the waterfalls and the fountains, with the Alps in the background. It's a magical setting. No wonder Mr. McEachern looked at it and decided to buy since it's right on the lake, and it is always a great sight to be right on a lake. But a lot of these plants he planted himself. The garden was not there when he bought it. This was a farmstead. If you have any interest in knowing what some of these plants are, you can go to the website at the bottom of this, the website for Villa Taranto, and they have a complete list of the plants that are planted here. I don't know if you will be able to differentiate and tell which plant was the one you liked to be able to put it in your own garden. Here is a quercus, which is an oak tree. This is an unusual color on the rhododendrons, Rhododendron austrinum. And here you see this is in April, and you still see the snow on the mountains and the Alps in the background. Those are fairly large mountains, and they bring some coolness during the summer, although it's usually gone by June, the snow. Here again, you've got a cute village on the opposite side of the lake, watching the lake traffic. These beds of color are just immense, and you can sit opposite these for long minutes and just take in the beauty. I hope you've enjoyed your tour. I hope you get a chance to go. And if you do, and you like English gardens but don't get a chance to go to England, you can see the types of gardens they have in England here in Italy, where the temperature is much nicer and the food is a lot better. So here we come once again to the Chinese wisteria, another view of the lake, and we are about finished. In fact, we are finished. Thank you for being with us. Hope you subscribe, and next time we will take a look at some architecture. And I thank you for taking the time. Hope you enjoyed it.